fifth graders. Today you're going to be doing an observation lesson, and you're also going to be doing a little contour drawing and looking at something through your viewfinder. Now, you used it on the letters last week. Today you're going to use it with the technique of literally looking at something. So I've already started. This is the bottom of my office chair that literally zeroed in with the viewfinder on underneath the chair and the controls that happened with it. This is a bike that you may do a section of something, and then if you have markers or paints, you could color it in. But actually, I'm fine with you just doing it in pencil to increase your skills of observation and looking very closely at detail. Now, when we use a viewfinder, part of it that helps you with composition and the space, I drew with a ruler here, just like over here on the sample. I've held my ruler straight, and I have drawn a 6-inch square so that it is actually the same proportions as my viewfinder. So you're looking at the space through the viewfinder, and that's a matter of literally closing one eye, taking your viewfinder. I'm going to do the computer headphones right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at a detailed close-up, and I'm going to take my viewfinder around, and I'm closing one eye, and until I find an interesting section of it that I'm going to draw. And what I'm going to do is, when I'm doing this, sometimes I will tape down my paper, because right now I'm holding in one hand my viewfinder and my paper might scoot. So I'm going to start the drawing by getting in one position, getting my viewfinder set up. I'm closing one eye, and so when I start to sketch in, I'm going to come in close because I want a kind of a close-up. So I'm looking at where my shape is coming from the side of my viewfinder. I'm actually letting this help me judge which direction my drawing is going to be. And it's coming out with one eye closed. I have the shape coming out of the side and going up and coming. I'm going to come back, and I look at my paper a little bit, and then I look in my viewfinder and I close the eye again. So I have to go back and forth as I do this to start getting the shape I'm looking at. So as I look, I'm kind of saying, okay, where else does it touch? As I'm doing this, and I have to see where my shape is. So as it comes around. So this is helping me see the space and the size things should be. So each time I'm looking, it's helping me look at part of the detail. So if you have, it can be something with your computer, it can be something with your bike, it can be something like this with the headphones, something that has a lot of detail and interesting shape that you're making it happen. So as you're doing this, you're coming in with doing this shape as it comes around. So it kind of comes, so I'm using my sketching technique so I can come back and correct as I go. I'm looking, I'm going to bring this one further down so you can correct as you go. So here's the inside of it. This is the outside of what I'm looking at. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to bring this around. Up here I'm looking at more of an edge of it coming around. So once I'm starting to get the shape I want, I can come back and I can add what these chords are doing. So I'm looking at a space where a chord is going behind another chord and wiggling up. So I'm looking at what I'm drawing, and I'm looking at how another piece is coming around. So I set up this composition to make it more interesting. So I'm using that viewfinder to keep coming back and looking at what my shapes are doing. So this is how with drawing, sight drawing, you're literally looking. You can come back and you can add more details as you work it. So as this loops, I'm seeing how my loops are. So I'm doing this close-up because when I come back and I look at a finished thing, as I keep working on this, I can keep coming back and adding more details. Like what I see in here is these neat little shiny bar parts. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to start putting in what else I'm seeing, so you can start to see what I'm doing. Then I come back, and where my darker values is, I kind of come back in and I start working the fine detail. Once I get my main shape in, I can put down my viewfinder, and now because I have my shape in, I can actually look at the detail that's happening in the different parts of the object and without the viewfinder. Because I've got my basic layout put in here, that helps me figure out again where my shape of my object and what it's doing. So when you